And that's the way it starts.
And that's the way it starts.
So it's usually very easy, very laid back. And once we do the countdown, we just start talking and we hit a subject of the day and we're off to the races. Sound good?
Sounds good.
I'm excited. Okay, John, you ready for a countdown?
Shoot.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I forgot my lines. Welcome back, friends. Welcome to another episode of The Jersey Alchemist, and I'm your host, Dr. John Gerard Gallucci.
And I'm Philip D'Angelo. And, John, a very special guest this year, one that we've been waiting for a long time.
Yes, we have.
I mean, there's some busy people in this world, especially in New Jersey. Everybody's busy, right?
True.
But this person right here, please introduce yourself.
Leigh Bongiovanni.
Leigh, oh, finally, she's here. Finally. That's amazing.
Live audience.
Yes. So we always, then we go into how was your day? So how was your day?
Not bad. Not
Not
bad.
bad.
It was okay.
Listen, a not bad for Jersey is really good.
True.
That's how we say really good.
Yeah. No, you're right. We got Bones in the corner there, and
This could be a problem with Leigh at the table.
Why?
Because he wants to sit in your seat. He's been
yeah,
calling.
that's true. That's a little backstory on Bones. Bones stormed out of here last week. He went down the steps. No, I didn't push him down the steps. He went down the steps, and the last we saw him, he was wheeling down the sidewalk and flipping us a bird. And he said, "That's it, I'm done." And then he texted me later that same afternoon, and he says, "I'm sending my cousin." He goes, "I don't want to leave you high and dry." And so Major Bones shows up. His cousin, the original Bones, left here in a chef's outfit. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but he's been a little bit edgy.
Yes.
He's been a little bit edgy.
This could push him over the edge.
It could
with
because
Leigh.
Leigh, I think it's the same guy.
It
I think
probably
it's
is.
Bones.
Yeah.
But we don't want to, start up.
No.
He called HR on us several times, so we got to be careful.
Leigh, we started this podcast and we talk about the spiritual side, professional, business. Because in Jersey, I mean, there's so many things going on all at once. Like today, you probably went to 20 different places before you came to the studio, correct?
I did.
It doesn't stop.
No.
It just keeps going. Okay.
And the traffic is awful.
Is it?
In
Really?
Jersey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It spits a little bit of rain and everyone forgets how to drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
true.
feel like
That
You
is
know?
true.
Well,
Yeah.
how about the snow? It snows, forget about it.
Oh, no, forget it.
It's a suicide run with the way people drive. Unless you have a pickup truck, and then for some reason you can do 90 miles an hour no
Yes.
matter what the weather
SUVs
is.
and pickup trucks think they can do
Yeah.
exactly that, 90 miles an hour down 287.
Well, right, you're right. There's a lot of morons out there that think because they're in a four-wheel drive vehicle that, they're invincible and others don't matter. Do you remember that October where we got 4 inches
Like
of snow?
around Halloween.
It was
They canceled
it was
Halloween
about
that year,
Yeah.
3
right?
years ago, and I live 11 miles from where I used to work, and everything was a parking lot for 4 inches of snow,
Yeah.
and it took me 4 hours to go 11 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the excuse was that the powers that be, who are the people that
Was
do
that
this?
Murphy's?
Oh,
Was
yeah,
that,
yeah.
That was his first
That
term.
was like 2 years ago, I think, wasn't it? Two or three?
2 or 3 years
Took
ago.
me an
something.
hour and a half to
It was-
get to Sayreville from Middlesex.
It was ridiculous.
You were speeding, you were flying.
Well, because no one had prepared for that.
Nobody,
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess, and maybe that's a good indicator that, a little road salt goes a long way, and maybe we're just not aware of it. But 4 inches of snowfall, I think it was October,
Mm-hmm.
the entire northern quarter of the state was paralyzed.
Yeah.
It took my cousin, she had to get on 280 where she lives and works. It took her over 8 hours to get home, and
Yeah.
I think she said she went 20 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a harrowing experience. Imagine if you didn't have enough gas in the car.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Forget
I'm
about
sure
it.
that happened to people.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
why people move to Florida, Texas. Right? Well, Texas did get snow though. They get snow once in a while.
Yeah.
But that's
They
why
do.
everybody goes down south. Warm weather.
My dad just moved to Florida
Really.
in February. He
What
moved.
part?
The Villages.
I don't know where
Just
that
like,
is.
you never heard
What's
of the
Villages?
Villages?
What
No.
town?
What? No, it's literally its own town.
Really?
Yeah, there's
I
like
mean, like that.
400,000 members, like citizens that live in the Villages.
Really?
It's like the 55 and older mecca of the East Coast.
Villages.
Well, so
Yeah.
it's the east coast of Florida.
Well, I mean, like the East Coast of the country. Like everybody goes to the
All right, let's
Villages.
play a little 20 questions geography.
Okay.
Is it near like Fort Lauderdale?
It's like 45 minutes like northwest of Orlando.
Oh, that's north.
Mhm.
Oh,
That's
wow.
north.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
central, you know,
Northwest.
well, of Orlando.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know,
Northwest.
like
So
Orlando's
it's
here,
got-
the Villages is like
so
right
it's
here.
southern. It's south to the Panhandle.
Yes, it's south. It's like
Oh.
4.5 hours from the Panhandle.
So are they anywhere near water?
No, he's like an hour from a beach.
Okay, well, but he's not gonna.
No, and I mean, he just wants to play golf all day and swim in pools.
Oh, what's wrong with that?
Nice.
How old is your dad?
He'll be 72 in November.
All right,
Wow.
good
Yeah.
for him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a Jersey guy his whole life.
Born and raised in Jersey City.
Whoa. He's
Yeah.
got stripes.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
got stripes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to enjoy it.
Oh, he loves it.
So when are you going to visit him?
Believe it or not, we're leaving Saturday.
What?
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you driving or flying?
We are driving.
Oh,
I
boy.
have 2 dogs that we're taking with us.
Really?
So, yeah.
Big
And
dogs or small dogs?
80 pound and 60 pound. They're mutts. But
Oh, yeah?
yeah. They're
That's
good.
more than you.
Good
Isn't
babies.
it?
Yeah.
They do weigh more than her.
Do you ride them on their back?
Yeah.
No, you tried to, but she doesn't.
No, we're talking
What-
to Lee's daughter.
Yeah, Lee's daughter's off camera. I'm not talking to Lee. You're not looking at her.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's going to be some trip.
Yeah, we're excited.
You going to stay overnight or straight shot?
I think we're probably going to stop Saturday,
Enjoy it.
get a couple hours sleep, and then
Yeah.
hop in the car and continue.
Wow.
Yeah, we like road trips.
Nice.
Why not? I love a
Yeah,
road
we take our
trip.
dogs everywhere.
I was
Do
to
you
a
really?
road
Yeah.
trip. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So the dogs are really part of the family.
Oh, yeah.
We've had that discussion before.
Yeah.
You know, we did a whole
That's a
Yeah.
good-
podcast on
It's a good
dogs.
discussion. We can resurrect that if you want. Do you, when you walked them, do you use a leash or harness?
Harness.
Yeah.
We do a
yeah,
harness.
gotta have
It's
a
a
harness.
different walk with a
Yeah.
harness, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They're more well behaved. And who wants to hurt their neck and stuff
Yeah.
like that? Are they
Yeah.
pullers or do they really?
The Scout just turned 2. She's a border collie mix.
Oh,
And
I
she's a
love border
puller.
collies.
She's
Yeah.
a puller. But Charlie,
No,
he's
it's not.
3.5 pounds. He's a husky mix. He'll walk right next to you.
He's a
Yeah.
husky mix?
Yeah, we
That-
call him the old man because he walks like an old man. He's only 3, but
Watch the old man's references today, okay?
an old man
Lee?
dog. He's like the gentle giant.
Yeah.
Huskies are bolters.
Well, he's only 25% husky, but he does have
Alright.
like that look. But he's a blondie, and oh, he's so cute.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a big mutt, like a big mutt.
Yeah, yeah.
Who cleans up after him?
Sometimes me, sometimes mommy, sometimes me.
Oh,
Okay.
They all
Alright.
share.
We
Okay.
share the cleanup duty.
That's good.
Fair
That's
enough.
great that everybody travels together.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Huh.
That's going to make the trip a little longer.
Sometimes,
You
but
know?
believe it or not, they're good. I mean, they could go 6 hours without us stopping, 5-6 hours.
That's pretty good.
No,
Yeah.
like 8.
You give doggy sedatives to them? Is that how you do
No,
it, Lee?
no, they're just
That
really
would
good
be cheating.
travelers.
Yeah.
We started them both when they were young. I have family in West Virginia, so they started off with a 6-hour road trip, and then we went to Atlanta. That took 16 hours. We
Wow.
went to Nashville. That took 14 hours.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah,
I,
Went to
that's a-
Virginia.
we went to Virginia.
That's impressive.
With
Yeah.
the dogs, yeah? Cool.
Wow.
I no names named. I won't even say how I know this individual. A very, very, very high functioning individual. Had us all hysterical, gobsmacked, because he revealed to us that when he and his wife used to drive far away, whether they were going to visit a relative that was 6 hours away, or sometimes they went on vacation and went to Florida in the car, he would prescribe his kids sleeping pills, like prescription sleeping pills.
Nice.
And we thought he was kidding. He's like, "Oh, I'm not kidding." He goes,
Wow.
"Oh, they just go right to sleep and they stay asleep for 12 hours." I'm like,
Wow. Wow. That's
It's
cheating.
crazy. That is cheating.
crazy.
That's cheating.
That is
Come on.
cheating.
That's like that's insanity.
Wow.
Yeah, we did not expect him to say that. None of us looked at him the same way after that.
No,
Wow.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. And his kids are so well behaved, right? They sleep at a drop of a hat, right? Imagine. At home,
Now we know why.
forget about
I mean,
it.
melatonin can do some wonders, but 12 hours.
You're a
ooh.
melatonin guy?
I'm a melatonin guy.
Wow.
I
wow.
am.
And
Yep.
are you happy with that, the results you get from
I
melatonin?
no complaints. No complaints at all. Yeah. I just, if I don't know. I think, God willing, if I make it into my 70s and 80s, I'm going to be one of those old geezers that just skulks around the house all night from sundown to sunrise.
Just
You
staring.
know?
Just
Yeah.
staring.
It's going to be like, they're going to say, I think Dracula lives in that house.
Wow. Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
we don't see him during the day, but he's up all night.
It is funny how when you get older, you get a little weirder. Like you get
Just a
set in your
little.
ways.
Yeah.
Lee, you'll see this someday. Don't laugh, Lee. It's coming. I'm 1 year away, I think, from picking up change off the ground. I'm right there. I'm shutting off lights. I'm closing doors. All that stuff I'm doing now, and just like that commercial. There's an insurance commercial, right?
Oh, the
Geico,
Progressive, I think. or
Progressive,
whatever.
and that's what they talk about. They actually make fun, but it just happens.
Don't turn into your parents.
Don't turn into your parents. Yeah. How about when you say stuff? You
Oh.
say when you're raising your kids. Do you say anything that your mother said to
I
you?
constantly say to her, "Oh my God, I sound just like my mom."
How weird is that?
Yeah, it's
right?
weird, and I didn't want it to sound like my mom.
None
but
of us
Yeah, I
did.
know, and you end up sounding like them.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's
Well,
like,
my
oh wow,
grandma-
they were right about stuff.
My
Yeah.
my mother's mother used to live with us. I guess she moved in maybe when I was 18, and a bunch of years because her second husband had passed, and then she built a little addition onto the house, and she moved in. Some of the best years of my life. I mentioned that before, but my grandmother was sleepless, and I know that as
Wow.
we age and we get older, we require less sleep, but Grandma was like the Night Stalker.
Mm.
I don't.
So
I
if
require maybe like
if I was in the TV room and not alone, unless
Grandma's.
unless Grandma was completely dead out of sleep, which was never,
And they were silent.
they were
Like, you did not
silent.
hear them. They just
were-
like appeared.
They were silent. Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
Silent
my
but deadly.
grandmother was silent.
Yeah, yeah. So see what you have to look forward to, Lee?
I don't sleep a lot
No.
now. I
Well,
mean,
with your energy level, I can't see
I-
you sleep for a while.
no, and I probably. I mean, 4 hours, I'm good to go.
4 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just this past weekend, I was running on like 2.5, 3 hours of sleep, and had to go do a wedding party, hair for a wedding party,
Wow,
and yeah,
Wow.
yeah, but you do it, and
So how's the wedding party gig? You gotta be at their beck and call for crazy hours, right?
I mean, if they want you there all day, very few brides like request to have a stylist there all day, but I mean, it's early hours, it's fun.
So how many people do? You do the whole wedding party?
Usually, when we book a wedding party, yeah.
And how long does that take?
Depends. Usually there's 2 or 3 of us. It can take anywhere from 2 to 4 to 5 hours, depending
Oh
on how
my
many
God.
girls there are.
Yeah. Wow.
Usually all the bridesmaids, usually the mother of the
But
bride,
you have to
mother of
go
the
there.
groom.
You have to go to where
We
they
usually
are.
do it
It's a
on
road
site.
trip.
Yeah.
Does
I
it
was
make
down
it-
in Margate on Saturday morning, so I got
Really?
exit 36 off the Parkway.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
It was
down
a
there.
hike, yeah.
I've
It
been
was a
So
hike.
does that make it difficult when you're not in your own shop, with your own things around and the mirror angles and the drawers and all your.
Sometimes it could be depending on the setup. Some bridal suites now in these places, they accommodate for that. Like they have salon sinks, they have salon chairs, they have a
Wow.
setup, they have outlets where we need them to be. Because a lot more brides now are starting to do on-site hair. No one comes to the salon anymore to get their hair done for their wedding.
That's a big trust thing. I mean, that's a big day for a bride and the
Mhm.
bridesmaids, and
It's a little stressful.
yeah, they really putting a lot of trust in you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you whispering in the bride's ear that 50 to 60% of marriages don't work out
I'm
today?
saying to them, being divorced, because I am divorced.
Oh, well,
So-
everybody at this table is
Yeah,
divorced.
they're the divorce club. But no, I'm always like, are you sure?
Mm,
That's
Oh,
what
no.
you wanna do? And people say to me, are you gonna do it again? And I always say, no. I don't think I'll ever get married again.
I said no. Well, you think it'll happen? What do you think, John? Yeah, no.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, you're young, but once you hit like our age, like I guess you just like, what the heck? You get used to doing things your own way,
Mhm.
sleeping your own way. I mean, your house is your house. It's set up the way you want it to be set up.
Do you remember my cousin Basil?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Basil was
Dear
my
Basil.
yeah,
I'm sorry, you have a cousin named Basil?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Her
why?
name is Basil?
No,
His-
he-
his-
Oh, he?
Why? You have a cousin?
No, I love that name. His name is Basil.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
love
we don't
that.
Yeah, he is the only Basil I've ever met.
I've never heard that.
Matt, right.
Well, I don't
right.
know.
I never met Basil Rathbone. He was an actor who played
Oh.
Sherlock Holmes in the old black and white
Oh.
originals.
All right, so that's two.
But Basil was a school teacher. He was a detective. He was this. He was that. He was a card counter in Atlantic City. He was a chain smoker. He was my mentor. He taught me how to be a bartender. But he lived alone because he had a lot of girlfriends. And there was one that the whole family knew, kind of when I was a small kid. I wasn't paying attention. But something happened where they broke up, and he said, that's enough, that's it. And he lived alone until he died at 62. Ooh, he was 62.
Oh, it's
I'm
young.
62, yeah. Right. But I said to him once, I says, why do you live alone? You like living alone? He goes, what am I going to do with somebody in my house? He goes, I'm in my 60s. He goes, I know every square inch of my apartment. He goes, I got this at hand, that at hand. He goes, all I need is for somebody to step into my life and start saying to me, you didn't push your chair in, or how come you did this, or you didn't take the garbage out, or take the garbage out. He says, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
He says, I would much rather live alone. Now, I live alone with my two dogs. I have two dogs, Summer. I have two dogs, yeah.
Is that really alone then? I mean, you
No.
have two dogs.
No,
You're never alone.
they whip me around. I almost said, they whip. They whip me around.
Yeah.
They tell me what to do. They mojo me. They stare at me. If I fall asleep on the couch, they're barking in my face.
There's a lot of married couples, I don't know if you guys know any, but that don't even sleep together in the same bed. So, right? I mean, it's a lot.
I mean, I live with my boyfriend, so I do live with somebody, but marriage, I just legally, I don't ever want to have to go through that again, because it was really rough the first time that I
Really?
had to do it. Yeah, it was not fun.
Why is it always so rough? I don't get it. It's always one out of the two,
It
What,
was
you
rough.
mean
the
divorce?
divorce. Yeah. It has to be a problem. I mean, if it doesn't
emotions
work.
and egos,
Actually,
right?
I have a girlfriend. Her and her husband got divorced. Literally sat down with the mediator. They were done and divorced within 3 months. No issues. It was very
Yeah,
amicable.
A mediator, yeah.
It can definitely happen, but the majority, my cousin used to do family law, and
Oh my God.
she had to get out of it. She does insurance law now,
Really?
but she couldn't take it. She would work 80 hours a week, and she's like, you always take it home. They
Yeah.
fight over a chandelier and not the poor kid. She
How
is.
sad.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, my experience with a mediator was that it was a setup, and the mediator was trying to hoodwink me because she was hired to do so.
Oh,
And so I fired her, I Donald Trumped her, I literally said, you're fired. And I got up and I walked out, and then throwdown was on, and then it was attorneys versus attorneys. And if you think that there's going to be a divorce that's amicable because your attorneys want it to be amicable, you're sadly mistaken. The attorneys are there to be adversarial. That's what they're all about.
It's $15,000 just to send letters back and forth
Oh, it's
for 6
yeah.
months. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just feelings get more upset with each other, like you said, emotions come into play, and before you know it, and the attorney's the only ones making out.
A divorce to me is like a bonfire, right?
Yeah.
You can make a bonfire, and it could be pretty good. You can roast weenies. I'm sure one side would like to roast the weenie and marshmallows, but you get the attorneys involved, and it's like they walk over to your campfire. That's what I should have said. That divorce is like a campfire. It can go either way. They walk over to the campfire with a bucket of gasoline
Yep.
and
And all the trees.
right, and that's exactly the way they want it, because now once they throw it down and they start poking a stick in the other person's cage, now they've just justified why they can rape you.
Mhm.
out
How
of
about
tons of
how
money.
about this search for an attorney? I mean, if you don't know any attorneys, I mean, now you have to go to an attorney. You got to explain your case. Is he good at divorce? You're listening to somebody's recommendation.
Mhm.
Right.
You know, I sat in this one attorney's office, and his office was maybe 15 stories high, glass windows everywhere, and we were talking about. Oh yeah, it was amazing. So we're talking about the divorce, and then he led into how much it was going to cost. And I said, oh, okay, that's interesting. That's a large sum of money. And at the end of the meeting, he said, I don't think we're going to be an economical fit for each other. That's how he said, you know, I think it's going to cost more than you're really ready to spend, which I was.
Mhm.
You know, I'm like, come on. It's got to be simple. A couple papers, a couple meetings. Let's end this. No,
No, that's
Just-
not why they're there.
there's not going to be a fit, he said. Okay. End of story. But listen, that's a little bit of a dark subject, right? So enough with the divorce and marriage and stuff like that, because life goes on, right?
Life goes on.
Life
How many
goes on.
people do you know, maybe Basil, like that, they get divorced, Lee, do you know anybody, and they just shut it down? It's like no relationships, they're not being social anymore, they're just like, you know what, I've had it.
You know, not divorced, but my grandmother lost my grandfather extremely young. I think my Aunt Debbie was 7 or 8. My mom was like 15, and she shut it down. And that's old school, you know. She was born in the 20s, and
Oh, yeah.
she was raised very differently. But
Yeah.
she said, I had the love of my life.
Wow.
I'm not trying to get confused when I go to heaven. She said, I want to.
Wow.
And she literally did
You know-
not date, did not. She said, I'm done. I had it.
Why, I knew somebody who passed away, he was in the hospital. His wife was dating when he was dying. How's that? Talk about how things are,
Oh, I got a good one.
go ahead.
Well, this is what
This is
podcast
the
all
place.
about. We go down rabbit holes and we
Yeah,
tell
left
stories.
and right.
My uncle, my poor aunt, was in a nursing home, and he was with her nurse.
Oh, wow.
And then he married her.
Really?
Yes.
Wait a minute. Didn't Joe Biden do that?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
she was like the babysitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right, she was in college or something.
Something like, well,
Babysitter.
Wow.
I don't know. You talk to Jill Biden's ex-husband. He's got one story. Joe and Jill got another. So I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know.
yeah. Well, we know Joe can't tell the truth, that's for sure. Well,
Well,
that's
he
an
knows what ends up.
That's an interesting story.
he did at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's
yeah.
very true.
Wow, that's an interesting story. So the nurse, huh?
The nurse,
Wow.
yeah.
And did they last a long time?
He just passed away in August. He was 80, but
Oh, wow.
I don't know if he was still married when he passed away. Uncle
Mm.
Benny was kind of the black sheep in our fam, so you know.
I kind of could relate to that.
Yeah. Well, we had a memorial for him at
So he-
Meadowlands Racetrack because that's where he spent most of his time.
That's funny.
Are you
So,
serious?
yeah, it was kind of cool.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Mhm.
I had an uncle who was, they say, a bookmaker. I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Okay.
So if any of my cousins see this, I don't mean to talk out of school. His wake, okay, was in, I won't mention his name. His wake was in a torrential downpour, okay? You had a park blocks away. I've never seen so many people at somebody's wake in my life.
Beloved.
I'm telling you, they love this guy. So your uncle, I mean, were there a lot of people there that he knew, associates, let's call them?
No, it
No?
was it was all family.
Oh,
It was all family because towards the end, I mean, he wasn't a good gambler. He was, I
yeah.
think he probably borrowed money from everyone, my family and extended. You know what I mean?
Wow, at the racetrack.
So yeah,
Did they have ashes there or something? Did they
his
sprinkle?
ashes were there. Yeah,
Did they sprinkle them on the track?
I'm
or-
sure they dedicated like the 7th race to him, and
That's impressive.
they got to go down with the
Wow.
winner, and they got to take a picture in the winner's circle with the horse. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was kind of
Really?
cool. Yeah.
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
Wow, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Wow. You never know. See, like family, you can't pick your family,
No.
right?
No, you
Your
can't.
uncles, your cousins, you wake up, you grow up, and they're there. You're stuck with them.
Mhm.
All personalities. But no matter how bad you might have a cousin or an uncle, I mean, you still love them because,
They're your
it's just
family.
him. It's
Yeah.
just him. So he drinks a little bit too much, or he gambles a little too much.
Right.
It's okay. As long as he's not hurting anybody outside of his own house, it's okay. Keep that hush hush.
Yeah.
You know? Wow, that's
How'd you
interesting.
become a hairdresser, a beautician?
I honestly, I don't know what it was. I mean, I think I've been doing hair for lifetimes.
Okay.
Honestly. Yeah, ever since I was little. I mean, all my Barbie's hair was cut. I knew from
Like all the way up?
literally from a young age, I always wanted to do hair. And my aunt worked in a salon, and I remember going with my mom and just loving the atmosphere. I mean, and this is when women were sitting there getting their hair done smoking a cigarette. You know, we're talking like
Yes.
early
Oh,
80s
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
just walking in
Sure.
there and just seeing the assistants, and it was like crazy, and all these women are cackling and talking, and I was like, I want to be a part of all of this. You
Wow,
know, like
that's nice.
I fell in love with the atmosphere, and I love doing hair. I love it.
Wow.
It's a
Good for
creative
you.
outlet.
How
Yeah.
do you feel with men when men started coming into the salon? Because I know a
Oh.
lot of men, right? They go, John. They go to
60% of my clientele are men.
really.
Yeah, I kind of, when I started doing hair, I wanted to like set myself apart a little bit, and this is when barbering was getting like a little bit more into salons, not
Sure,
just
sure.
your
Right.
mom and pop barbershops.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna sit in a barbershop, and I did for 3 months, and I watched a master barber cut hair for 3 months, and I just studied and learned, and I just wanted to be a girl that decided, did more barbering than most, because
Wow.
women weren't doing really fades and all that stuff at the time.
Heck no.
And yeah, and I fell in love with it. And I was a big tomboy growing up, so like conversation with men and boys is way different than the conversation I have with my women
I
clientele.
bet.
And it's nice to like shoot the shit
Which is
with
more
my,
fun.
Depends on the person.
Yeah.
Because, it depends. But, I mean, my clients I've been doing hair for 20 years. My clients are like my family. A lot of them.
Wow.
We celebrate birthdays together and weddings and confirmations.
Oh,
And,
wow. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good business operator. We always talk about bedside manner, right, John, with
Yeah.
doctors or anything. I mean,
Right.
there you go.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of like the art of the sale. Like, in a way, if you
It
talk
is.
to somebody,
It
they're like,
is.
wow, that Leigh, I could really talk to her while she's
Mhm.
cutting my hair. And
Yeah.
It
And
makes
it's
them want to come back.
It's so
You're
funny
right,
because
Phil.
when you're in beauty school, they actually like cover it in a chapter how there's something about the atmosphere of a salon where you literally become almost a therapist, and women just feel, and even men feel that once they get in that chair, they let loose.
Wow.
And
Well,
it's
bartending was like that for
bartending
me.
too. Those
Yeah.
and they say during recession and hard times, salons and bars will always be in business.
There you go.
People want to look good and feel good.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's true.
It is.
You know.
It
The
is.
art of that, how long does it take to do, like, a guy's hair? Like 15, 20
No,
minutes?
like a half hour. It's 45
hour?
minutes. Depends on how detailed the cut is.
All right, so you can have a nice conversation, 20 minutes.
Oh,
Let him
yeah.
unwind,
Mhm.
and he feels like $1 million. He looks like $1 million after you're done with
Yeah,
him.
and I have a lot of my male clientele they're every 2 to 4 weeks. I have a lot of clients that are every 2 weeks.
Wow,
Yeah, so you become, you have,
that's right. Yeah,
you build a really good relationship with people like
Yeah.
that.
True. Yeah.
that's it. When you can make it a business a little bit personal, you'll always be successful.
Well, we say we're, Middlesex's best kept secret downstairs.
Wow.
I always loved the people that cut my hair.
hmm
And I have a crazy, crazy story about, I mean, there are no coincidences in life, but I've always loved the people, like family members, that cut my hair. So, in Montreal, 420 miles north, and, I was going to the mall to get my hair cut by some people in a mall salon that refused to even say hello to me in English. It had to be in French, and all right, fine. You sat there the entire time they were cutting your hair, and if you said something in English, they pretended like they didn't know what you were talking about, and that's unfortunately the truth.
And they were talking about you in French.
Oh yeah. So that happened for maybe, I don't know what, maybe 4 or 5 months, something like that. And then my parents came up to visit, and they stayed in a hotel called Ruby Foos out on the highway. And the hotel was big, it was old, its heyday was in like the 50s and 60s. And they had shops downstairs in the lobby, there were restaurants. I mean, it was like a big kind of destination hotel, right?
Mhm.
Even though it was a bit old. And I saw Coiffure, hair salon by Gino. I says, well, let me walk in. Let me see what this is all about. I was waiting for my mother and father to meet for dinner. And I walk in, there's this guy, probably my age then that I am now. And he's cutting hair, and there was a girl on the other chair, cutting hair. And he looked at me. He says, can I help you? In a heavy Italian accent. And I said, well, my name is John. I says, I was just looking for a haircut. Not now. I says, I'll make the appointment. I'm going to take one of your cards, okay? He says, okay, all right, good for you, fine. I make the appointment. Make the long story short, the guy felt like family. Not because my name ends in a vowel and so did his, but because before 6 or 8 months went by, I found out that my first best friend in the whole world from Bloomfield, New Jersey, was this guy's relative.
That's crazy.
Same last name. He knew what the father did for a living. They owned a fish market. I mean,
What a small world.
it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I wrote about it in the
your
book.
Yeah.
Yeah, Montreal was a great experience for me. Very spiritual experience, but
Wow.
it even went to the person cutting my hair. When we realized that my first best friend, when I was 3 and 4 years old, was his relative, and it's the same last name, and he knew all of them, both his hands dropped down, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
What are the chances of that?
What are the odds of that?
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I know.
Have you ever had any of those moments like that where somebody came in who you didn't know, and it turns out that you did know somebody? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple clients where, you know the same people. I mean, especially in this town, Middlesex is very small, and everybody's kind of like Mayberry. I always
Did you
call it
grow up in
Mayberry.
Middlesex?
No, I grew up in Woodbridge.
oh,
Yeah.
what made you feel so comfortable? You said you felt comfortable the first time you walked into a salon.
I don't know.
Almost like you've done it before.
I'm telling you, I have been doing hair for many, many moons, many lifetimes, I think.
Explain that. What are you saying?
I just felt like it was always my job in life.
Isn't
to...
that interesting?
Yeah, she's saying
So
lives, plural.
No, but you were cutting the hair of your dolls.
Yes.
And I used to cut the abdomens open of my sister's dolls
See?
and pull the stuffing out, stick
See?
it back in, and then
Suture it up?
and then sew it back up.
Yeah.
I
That's
was
amazing.
5 years old.
Wow. That's
And
great.
you've probably
Isn't that
been,
interesting?
yeah.
Wow.
I think it was just, I don't know, it's ingrained in my DNA for some reason. I'm supposed to help take care of people looking beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, because there's certain spots in life where you do feel comfortable.
Do you think that you had anything to do with doing hair in previous lives?
Oh, absolutely.
That's
I've
what
had
that's what I was
visions.
getting
Yeah,
at.
no, I've
Well,
had.
what were they?
I have one vision, believe it or not, John was actually in it. John and I have discussed this in Egypt.
Okay.
And John had almost like we were like working with herbs.
Okay.
And
a doctor.
yes, he was like, well, probably. I mean,
Maybe.
back then they used it to cure everything, but
Yeah.
and it was just this scene where I was walking behind someone and John was over here, and it didn't really look like John, but I knew it was John. I knew it was John because I remember I called him immediately and I was like, I had this dream and I have to tell you about this dream.
Okay.
And I was walking behind, and I don't know if she was a queen, a priestess. I don't really know what her role was.
Okay.
But I was probably. I was walking behind her, and then she sat down, and I started like catering to her hair and putting oils in her hair, and it was just one of those moments where I was like, no, that's something I just totally relived something I think I had done.
Wow.
You
'Cause
know?
it was clear.
It was like very, very clear.
Like John's dreams or visions. You remember like how the ground felt, the temperature.
Oh, the smell. I can
the
remember
smells.
the smell.
Wow.
Yeah.
'Cause
The touch of like her, because I remember picking up like, it wasn't a dress. It was almost like a sari that she was wearing. I can't explain it, but it was like just picking it up for her so she could sit. Like I remember the feel of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like the Swami.
Yeah, like crazy, right?
Catering.
Wow.
Exactly.
And did you have conversation with who you thought was John or John back then?
No, like we nodded to each other,
Sure.
and we were almost like I felt like yeah, like not servants, but we were almost like, you know, you're beneath, you're serving them. Like I'm
Yes.
making them look beautiful. You're
Yeah.
making them feel beautiful.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, we had that role.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah. No, I know. Wow.
Yeah, it was
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you, John, when you grew up after those dreams? I mean, did you feel the same way? I know you've described your dreams. Unbelievable. The
I
way
have Cecil B. DeMille production, you know, like major motion picture production dreams. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
I
did
had
you
a lot of those.
like Leigh? Did you feel like there was somebody you knew there that you could relate to it and that you've met like in your life now?
You mean, do I make the correlation?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do. Some of them are just overtly, you know, oh, so and so's in this one, so and so's in that one. But then there are other people who, in the vision or in the dream, I know them deeply, but it's not obvious to me when I wake up and recall the whole episode who it was.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's true. So you were, yeah, part of ancient Egypt. Yeah.
Yeah.
So am I. Now, some of the viewers might say, "Oh God, really? Come on, guys." You know, it's true. It's true, people. It's true. You know, we go around and around. We mentioned that on other episodes, and yeah, you can't amass all of the experience that you need to amass in one mere mortal lifetime. No, it takes much, much more than that. And we're around forever, and forever is a relative term. So forever in the third dimension might be, I can tell you as a pediatric surgeon, forever might be 2 days, right? Lifespan will be 2 days or less, or it might be 2 years, or it might be 20 years, or it might be 102 years. So
I hope this is one of my last. I hope I learned a lot of lessons because I'm like, I don't know if I can do this
Why would you want to
anymore.
run out of lives? I mean, don't you want to keep
I mean,
going?
I want to go to I want to go where we're all
Where
going
the
to
cool
party
cats
together.
go.
Yes. Where we're all just hanging out, having fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've learned enough. Like, especially now, we could all agree now. I mean,
Yeah. What's going on?
I'm like, I feel like Rapture's coming soon, so.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Oh, the way the world is.
What do you mean by rapture? What is that?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
just
define for the viewers what you mean by rapture.
Oh, well, my rapture
without
may sound a little
scaring your
different than
daughter.
like biblical rapture, but I just think certain people frequency vibrations. I think certain people are stuck. Like you almost said, like that 3D dimension.
Right.
And I feel like we're all getting to a point where some of us have raised our vibration, and we're going to be able to kind of live at that 5D level.
Right.
And yeah, I'm just waiting for it to happen.
And there's a lot of people that really want nothing to do with what we would call an ascension play, an elevation from third dimensional vibratory state through fourth into fifth. There's a lot of people who are just kind of hunky-dory with the way things are. And I've read a lot and watched a lot of videos on this that then that's where they shall stay.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not staying
I don't
there.
want, you know,
I don't want to stay there.
Right, and it's almost like a blue pill, red pill thing. Like if you can't take that red pill and wear it, then you're a blue pillar. And if you're a blue pillar, it's, you know, it's like don't ask, don't tell, and you just want things to be status quo. And you'd probably be okay with 2 square meals a day issued to you by the government. And if you want to leave your concrete high-rise apartment rat trap complex, you have to either do a retinal scan or a fingerprint scan. And if you think that's a joke, that's what's going on in China.
Everyone just needs to read George Orwell, 1984. Everyone needs to read that book.
You know, I never read the book.
You
I feel like I'm
read the
I
book.
feel like I'm living the book.
When was that written? 1984. In the 60s? 70s?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It was a while ago. But
It was, I want to say, probably the 60s.
And the premise of the book, 1984, is?
Like a dystopian nightmare.
Yeah, it's a dystopian nightmare, and that's pretty much.
Pretty much
think-
what we all went through with the lockdowns times 10, and it's when people were super like sheeple, like just like you know,
Sheeple,
like you said, don't ask, don't tell. You
Mm.
do as I say, not as I do, because we saw a lot of that. We all had to
Yeah.
do as we were told, but
Sure.
the ones who were telling us to do these things kind of took it upon themselves to do what they wanted,
Yes. Yes.
you know, and it's
Right.
just like
You
they're
see, I'm not
gonna continue doing these things as the more you comply.
What
more
you
they-
just said,
Yeah.
that there's a lot of people that are not okay with that. They're
Mhm.
not okay with people out there, part of this third dimension, that basically just want to have at us,
Oh yeah.
right? They want to have their way with us.
Mhm.
Well, this guy's not okay with that. I keep looking at the monitor, the camera's up there.
Mhm.
This guy's not okay with that. Neither is that guy, neither are you. And that's really what this podcast is all about. We have fun, we talk, we laugh, and then we
Mhm.
bring up dark issues that are plaguing humanity. And, you know, they're the problems of old and they're the problems that are today. And we don't just leave them there and then say, okay, see you next time. And we're going to pile more shit on more shit.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it around and we're going to get spiritual about it and kind of alchemize it. And, yeah, that's, you just said a mouthful.
I was always considered, growing up, like the conspiracy theorist out of all my friends. I mean, from a very young age, I questioned, and I know I drove my parents crazy because I was that kid who literally questioned everything. And I was like, but why? But why? But why is this? Why do they tell us this? Why do they tell us that? And I just always knew something was wrong. I mean, I have respect for the government, but I knew something was not right. And when I hit 18, Gore was running against Bush. And my mom, who is a diehard liberal, God bless her soul, but she is like, she told me the FBI was going to come knocking on my door because I started talking about Hunter Biden's laptop.
Wow.
And this was 2 years ago.
Mm.
She was like, they're going to come and get you. I'm like, Mom, they're not.
Well, they're going to take away you and 5 billion other
Well,
people.
exactly. But I
Right.
read a book, Behold the Pale Horse. I don't know if you've ever read that.
No,
by William
but
H. Cooper. It's
Oh, I know him, yeah.
a lot of, I mean,
I've
you,
seen many videos with him.
it's hard to find like an actual book, that actual like additional print because they've taken so much out of it now.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I remember being like 16 reading that book and going, son of a bitch, they've lied to us literally about everything.
Mm.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
And I hate to be that person, but yeah, I was always the conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, well, my conspiracies have been coming true over the last 2
Well,
years.
You know what? You know
so-
what a conspiracy theorist is? Seriously, it's somebody who just sees through the bullshit.
Yeah.
And we know that the CIA were the ones that coined the
After
phrase
JFK.
conspiracy
Yeah.
theory. Just to discredit and to
Make
you
us
know,
sound crazy.
to make us sound crazy because we're the only ones that have the ability to see through their
Well,
crap.
we're the critical thinkers. I'm like, common sense and critical
Free
thinking.
thinkers, critical
Yes.
thinkers, absolutely.
You know what's interesting? Everything you said, Lee, which I agree with 100%, sounds like more of somebody who's conservative. You know what, right, John? But yet you don't seem like a conservative side of the aisle person.
Well, you know what's so fun? I never liked politics.
Yeah.
I never cared for them. All right, what I was gonna say, like I voted. So when I hit 18, my mom was like, "Democracy matters. You should." I sat there. I watched debates with her. I was like, "I'm gonna give this a shot. It's my right as a U.S. citizen to vote."
Amen.
What happens that year? All of a sudden, everyone in Florida forgot how to fill out a ballot, and there was a big recount in Florida. And I looked at my mother and I go, "Never again." Because the one that they wanted to win didn't win, so now they're in Florida to try to figure out how their candidate's going to win, and that's exactly what happened. And I said, "Mom, never voting again." I did vote in 2020. That's a whole different story because we know how that went. But still, I'm like, I'm gonna stop voting because they keep cheating. Every time I vote, they cheat.
Yeah, every 20 years. I think that was the hanging.
They don't cheat if you don't vote.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Wasn't that the hanging Chad in Florida?
Yeah.
It's like, and I
Yeah.
looked at my mom. I go, "I'm done." And I never cared about politics. And then I started doing, lockdown did one good thing for me. I started just researching certain things that like clients had told me and some friends had told me, and I'm like, all right, I'll go down rabbit holes. I went down the biggest rabbit hole.
You did.
I
What are you holding
did.
back for?
I-
Come on, this is podcast rabbit hole.
Yeah, come on.
I mean, I went down a lot of rabbit holes. And yeah, I'm just like, no, they lie about everything. We don't know the truth about nothing.
Come on, take us down the rabbit hole.
What rabbit hole do you want to go down? There's so
The
many.
one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so
The big one.
Well,
the
yeah,
big one, like the big guy.
yes.
That's a rabbit. He is a rabbit hole.
Well, I mean, like I found out about all like the child trafficking that goes on in this world.
Disgraceful.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Disgraceful.
and how certain presidents
Well, listen, we're gonna have you on again.
keep a complete blind eye to these
You know,
things. And I
because
mean,
I don't, you know, you're not gonna be able to.
Well, right. But Trumpy came up and he was like the only president who actually made a difference when it came to child trafficking. He was like, no, this is going to be really punishable and we're going to have a team that's going to, you know, like execute certain things. And I was like, why didn't any other president do that? And then I started looking into Trump's background when he was president because I think he's hysterical as a figure.
Yes.
I know a lot of people didn't like him.
I wasn't. Funny.
I mean,
Well, what's
he's
his
just
background?
so
He's yellow.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's just so in your face.
Yeah.
Like me and my dad used to watch The Apprentice, and I'm like, how do you not love this man? Like, but when he went into politics, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is he making fun of us? But then I'm like, no, this man is trying to save us.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
literally trying to save us.
It's amazing how many people. I have never seen hatred fomented.
But they hate him just
Like-
to hate him. They don't
like-
even have a
That's right.
reason.
Well,
Sheeple.
what's it called?
Sheeples, yes.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Syndrome, yes,
right?
yes.
I mean, there are
TDS.
people who want him dead. I mean, where does, you know, somebody who I used to just adore was Robert De Niro.
Not anymore.
Listen, Bobby, where do you get off saying you'll punch that son of a bitch? You know something? He'd kick your fucking ass in sideways. And if for some reason he had a headache and didn't feel like it, I'll jump in and I'll kick your ass, you fuckhead. Who the
Okay.
fuck cares about you or Sean Penn? Not me, brother.
Don't get me started on the Ukraine.
Oh, that'll get us taken down. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Wow. Wow. We talked about that.
We're not
on
allowed to say
another-
the U word.
I don't think so. It's like the V word.
Oh yeah,
you
no,
know, we
I
got taken
know.
down for that.
Yeah, we did. We had an
Instagram
episode.
puts me in jail every other day because of the stuff I post on Instagram.
Okay. I wish you would have told us that before the podcast.
I'm sorry.
Look, you know what? I gotta say something. Phil knows the story, and the viewers may know. But speaking of DJT, Donald J. Trump,
45.
45. You know, I joined that Truth Social network, and I waited for months because it was a logjam, I guess, you know, technologically. Finally, they sent an email, Eureka, congratulations, you're on, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hey, I'm on. And I had so many great, you know, such high, great expectations. And I started, you know, looking at the threads and the conversations and this and that. And somebody said something that I wasn't opposed to. I just felt like, let me jump in the water, and I was going to commiserate with somebody's post. So I said the following. I said, yeah, well, I said, this is the New World Order in their, you know, attempt to destroy the United States of America. They're scumbags. Guess what?
What happened?
They took the post down.
Because you mentioned the NWO.
I don't know, but Truth Social that said, "Come one, come all, you unwashed, you know, tired masses that
Right.
want to opine and express yourselves, that are tired of big tech censoring what you say and feel and do." Guess what? I've been way more spicy on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and Truth Social took my one and only post down in the first 24 hours that I was on. You have got to be kidding me.
That's weird.
Mr. Nunez, get your shite together.
Yeah, I'm a big Nunez fan too.
Well, so am I.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. I'm sorry to hear that. You think it was a beginning glitch or something, a mistake? I mean, I don't
Glitch?
know. Yeah.
You mean like 400,000 votes at 1 o'clock in the morning, that kind of glitch? You know, give me a break.
Wow, that's
A
crazy.
glitch.
You know, one thing I can say about 45, when people want to, you know, and I tell everybody, Leigh, just listen. Listen to what they're telling you and make your own. Do your research. It's an important thing to vote and to know how to vote, and listen to what these people are telling you. Because 9 times out of 10, you're going to see them on one station saying one thing, another station saying another thing, and right away you're going to say, well, I don't trust them anymore. So
Right.
people that don't like 45, and like you said, he's yellow, all right? He's got funny hair. He loves himself. And he can't make a comment with saying it's the best bridge ever. It's the best building ever. But I tell people, name one policy in 4 years that hurt this country, and they can't come up with one. I'm not saying it's
Right.
perfect. I'm
Yeah.
not saying
No,
he
I
shouldn't
know.
have done this.
Right.
Just bear tax. Don't be sheeple and believe what the media or somebody else is telling you about that man.
No,
He donated his paycheck.
Yeah, no, it's that's what made me realize that we are in the midst of the great spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh, it's
what
happening.
did the big guy, that J.O. that's in the, well, he's not in the White House, he's in some studio in Castle Rock Studios in Hollywood.
Georgia. Oh, you see this?
Joe Biden, right?
Oh.
No, but the one is, he says, "Oh, we're fighting for the soul of this country." Well, you're right, because it's people like you who are trying to steal it, and we're fighting. The rest of us are fighting against you and yours.
You could literally, with the administration in office right now, and what they've been in a year and a half, John,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right, Leigh?
Yeah.
A year and a half. You could find video clip after video clip of them double speaking everything.
Yeah.
From the campaign to right now.
Right.
And it's amazing how, and that goes, if we had an honest media, that would just question them.
Well, how about that jackass, the press secretary, Jen Psaki?
Oh.
I mean, really?
Peppermint
Really?
Patty?
Peppermint Patty, it's pretty funny. Whenever she didn't have an answer, she'd say, "Oh, well, just circle back on that." Circle back? You belong on MSNBC.
I really hope, and I don't know who, a lot of people say this is all just to wake people up. Like, whatever's going on right now, how silly the president is acting and his dementia and, everything that's going on in the world, they say, well, maybe there's someone behind all this trying to wake people up. Do I know if that's true? I don't know. But they're doing a really good job
you
on
mean
their
like
own.
The White
like
House
a white
are
hat,
in
right?
control,
Right.
and they're trying to get a
Right.
certain quorum of us to wake up
Right.
before they basically pull the plug on the bathtub that's full of liquid feces.
Well,
in-
yeah.
in-
I mean,
in
draining
Washington.
the swamp is super, 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 super deep. So
Oh,
it's
it's
like,
deep.
It's the whole world is the swamp.
yeah. But I mean,
Look at Klaus Schwab and
ugh,
Tedros.
Soros.
No, not Soros, but Tedros Gobbledygook, the guy that's the head of the WHO. I saw Dr. John Campbell. I love him from Great Britain. He's a nurse PhD, very learned fellow. Has a whole string of videos on, and he covered the pandemic pretty well. And today, I watched his video from just over the weekend about Bill Gates' new book. I wouldn't buy a book written by Bill Gates or his ghost authors if you paid me for I would not. There's only one thing I'd want to do with that book: roll it into a big fat roll and shove it where the sun doesn't shine.
I mean, have you seen any of these
Bill
videos
Gates.
of Bill Gates where he's literally on video? And I'm like, okay.
Talking about depopulation.
Talking about how ivermectin was purposely not given to people because him and Fauci just wanted people to die. I mean, these words are coming out of this man's mouth,
No,
and I'm like,
I never saw that.
Wow.
Seriously? You've seen it?
Yes, and I don't know what kind of forum he's in, but he says
Why would he film himself saying stuff like
well, that's
that?
what I'm saying. Like, there's these certain forums that he goes and speaks,
Yeah.
and
Feels free to say
to
what's on
say
his-
what he
the real-
wants. I mean,
yeah.
and he has said numerous times that depopulation, and
Well, we know that about him.
he's bought up farmland, all the farmland.
430 million acres.
Yeah, and look at all the
of
food processing plants that have burned to the
Yes.
ground.
I know, and I've heard both sides of that story too.
Well, I heard
right?
I don't know if it's true, so please don't quote me on it, but supposedly someone got arrested for that, and they were done purposely over the weekend.
Oh well, now they're going to blame it on somebody
Some
instead
poor
of
sap.
instead
No,
of
but
an
they were saying it was
agency-like thing.
They were saying it was like Department of Agriculture. Whoever runs our Department of Agriculture supposedly had gotten I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we have to
I
check on that.
yeah, we could
That'll
definitely
be
check,
for
but
another episode. John, is there any way that you could bring this all around full circle now? I mean, it's been a pretty enlightening.
Well, I think that we only really scratched the surface.
surface.
Oh,
the,
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We spoke for almost an hour, and we just talked about
Yeah, we
the
touched on it.
daily mundane grind.
Mm,
We didn't really get down to brass tacks,
no.
but I just want to say that we need more people like Leigh. No, we do.
100%.
We do.
100%.
We do. And I thank God for the people on this planet that have their eyes and their ears and their hearts open, like Leigh, like Summer,
Summer.
who want the best for humanity, and that they are going to, I think, devote their lives to the betterment and the ascension of humanity, even though the playing field is stacked against people like us. Because if it were an easy go, it wouldn't be any fun, would it?
No. I think the majority of the people, though, that it's just not shown to the world, but I think there's more people on our side than anybody realizes, because
Agreed.
it is so portrayed such one way in the media, and I think everyone I talk to, I really think there's way more people that think the way we do and see the world for what it truly is than
Well,
they're
sure.
letting on.
Right, you're absolutely right, and
You know?
thus the reason for their extreme censorship techniques.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm raising vibrations every day,
Which is
gentlemen.
why the Truth Social thing got me so
Yeah, it's a little
angry.
upsetting. That's a little upsetting.
Yeah, it sure is. but,
Better be a good reason for that one.
yeah. So
Wow, great podcast.
yeah.
I want to thank Leigh, John, for
Yeah.
Thank you so
coming
much for
in.
having me,
Oh,
guys.
it
That
was
was awesome.
Hopefully you'll come back again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And,
we'll,
we could talk about other more
and we'll-
spiritual.
We'll go down a few other rabbit holes. and maybe
Definitely.
We'll three of us will each have our own shovel and we'll dig our own rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And cool. All right.
Yeah.
So God bless.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank you so
me.
much, John.
Bill.
Dr.
Thanks,
John, thank you
guys.
very much. If you like what we're doing, please press the like button and
And
subscribe.
subscribe.
The
See you
Jersey
again.
Alchemist.
That's right. See you in
Peace.
the next episode of Jersey Alchemist.